As Don had mentioned before, I was a student, graduated from Lawrence Tech. I worked as an engineer for a number of years and then moved into management, managing projects. I created and co-founded 2 companies. We make automated assembly line equipment and automated controllers like you see here on the table. Basic agenda, I want to make this interesting for you as students. I can remember when I was a student also, so I want to give you an introduction, brief biography of who I am. And then to let you know what does it mean to be an entrepreneur, the 5 characteristics of being an entrepreneur, my actual entrepreneurial journey, an overview of the first company I co-founded, which was Automated Solutions. The second company I give you an overview is WSP Technologies. And I want to give you an introductory guide to how to start a business because that may be of interest to you. We're going to move swiftly. I'll try to make it fun. And then afterwards, we'll do questions and answers. Again, my name is Raymond Ormachea. I co-founded Automated Solutions in WSP Technologies. I graduated from Lawrence Tech in 2002. Prior to graduating, I was late to graduate. I started a company, co-founded in 1999. It's called Automated Solutions. We make assembly line equipment, and if you were here a little while ago, maybe you saw some of the automated equipment that we make running on the screen above you. And here starts the lesson. I want to define what it is to be an entrepreneur. What does it mean? Things like that. So the word entrepreneur is actually a French noun, which means one who manages and assumes risks of a business or an enterprise. And then, although colleges and universities have recently started entrepreneur programs, the entrepreneur spirit has been part of the American economy from the beginning. So it's deep-rooted with capitalism. It's been here longer than America has. And I put together a little 2-page summary of the entrepreneur spirit in America. Most Americans think that our leading citizens as being politicians, social leaders, but actually entrepreneurs are the unsung heroes of the past. These early American men and women saw challenges and opportunities where others saw nothing at all. Now I want to talk about the 5 characteristics of being an entrepreneur. You may say, hey, I don't know what it's, I don't know if I could be an entrepreneur. I don't know what it takes. So I broke down 5 basic characteristics, and they are: characteristic number 1 is an entrepreneur is an inventor. Doesn't mean you need to invent things, but although few inventors are entrepreneurs, an inventor sees the world through alert, wide open eyes. An inventor lives asking the question, what's missing in this picture? The inventor answers the question by inventing the missing piece that makes the picture whole. The difference between an inventor and an entrepreneur is that an entrepreneur invents new businesses. All other inventors invent new products. Characteristic number 2, entrepreneurs create business opportunities. Entrepreneurs do not buy business opportunities, they create them. Although business opportunities such as franchises are more likely to guarantee success, they suppress the entrepreneur's inclination to invent. The passion of the entrepreneur is not to run a successful business, not to run a business that someone else invented, but to invent a unique business that becomes successful. Entrepreneurs invent business opportunities to grow themselves, not to work in, but to work on. Characteristic number 3. Invention is contagious. Entrepreneurs love to experience an original business idea that has been successfully manifested in the world. The entrepreneur's passion comes not only from inventing, but also from basking in the delight of other people who experience their inventions. The entrepreneur is no different from a performer whose love for what they do is dramatically increased by an enthusiastic response from the audience. So I'm expecting one from you afterwards. Once the business has achieved success, sustaining it becomes a primary focus of the entrepreneur. Characteristic number 4, an entrepreneur's success is measured by growth. The faster the business grows, the more successful is the invention. The slower the business grows, the less successful is the invention. To be caught up in a slower, no-growth business is to be doomed to show up every day to perform in a show that nobody enjoys. Entrepreneurs create businesses that thrive. To the entrepreneur, there's no business like show business. Characteristic number 5 is anybody can become an entrepreneur. Everyone possesses the ability to become an entrepreneur. to invent, to conceive of a great idea for a new business and to create an original business based on a simple but explosive idea. For some of us, it may take longer to develop that ability. For others, it may take a little more than awareness of of what differentiates the entrepreneur from a manager or a technician. Developing one's entrepreneurial skills calls for practice. That does not mean that you continue to start new businesses. What it means is that you continue to develop new ideas for a business. My entrepreneur journey, I started my career as a controls engineer for a Tier 1 automotive supplier, actually the automotive supplier that this room's named after, Lear Corporation. I was promoted and transitioned into program management. I was responsible for manufacturing tooling and equipment. I managed groups of engineers that designed manufacturing equipment, and I maintained teams of technicians that installed the equipment at their various worldwide locations. I began a period of self-evaluation as I worked there. I decided to spend a full year evaluating my career. I worked in a fast-paced, high-environment environment. I was valued by the organization, and I received prestigious performance awards each year. It should have been the most satisfying time of my career, but it really wasn't. I spent a great deal of time wondering if this was it or was there more to experience. The inner search led me on a path of obtaining knowledge from textbooks, business manuals, and from other people that had ventured into small businesses. The fundamental question that I began to explore dealt with my personal satisfaction, personal respect, and reward. I was very confident with my abilities as an engineer at solving problems and being creative. And at the conclusion of my one-year self-evaluation period, I decided to move out of the organization and into a startup venture. And that's how it started for me, and that's how it starts for a lot of mid-career entrepreneurs. And mid-career entrepreneurs leave secure corporate positions to engage in the uncertainties of their visions. I started Automated Solutions, although that's not our headquarters there. It would be impressive if it was. We were established in 1999, and we moved to our current location in 2001. Our capabilities include, we do mechanical engineering. PLC programming is how machines work. We have machine builders, we have fabricators that put our equipment together. We have a CNC machining division. We have electrical engineers, we have program management, we have electricians, and we have welding. This is our actual facility. We built it in 2001. It's located in Shelby Township, Michigan. Every company seems to have a mission statement, and this is ours. That we have an outstanding multifunctional team leadership skills, coupled with our can-do reputation that has led to a strong history of performance. We're decisive, strategy-minded, and able to achieve time and budget targets by setting strong examples of integrity, imagination, and persistence. We are eager to assess your objectives and achieve company goals on time, within budget, and to your specification, and that is our mission statement. Our primary customers, and you see Lear, the room we're in, is actually one of our customers, as well as the big three. We do work for Owens Corning, and you'll actually see a machine that we've done for them. Magna, another tier supplier, Johnson Controls, Visteon. We've branched out into aerospace and into Boeing. Elopak does carbonizing for orange juice and milk. Furcia is an automotive supplier. Scott Equipment does specialty equipment that we build for them. And Tropicana actually uses some of the Elopak products. Locations that we've actually sent equipment, you can see those are the black dots. And we've primarily in the United States, and it seems like manufacturing is in the North to Midwest. Mexico is big, South America has been big for us, and Europe is big. Our accomplishment, we have documented success, include launching equipment for some of the world's most profitable vehicle platforms. We've been awarded 7 U.S. patents for equipment and production, for automated production equipment. Many of these innovative processes have established a benchmark throughout the industry. We earned a prestigious New Technology President's Award from Boeing for 2008 for a new technology we have. We were featured in, we had a feature article written about us in Assembly Magazine in April of 2009. Automated Solutions builds custom equipment. So somebody actually comes to us and they say, hey, we do mainly automotive interiors. Any car that you're driving today has seats and interior that have gone through Automated Solutions equipment. You can see on the lockout fixture that looks like an armrest because it is, and on the right is how you take a seat back and you stuff it into a trim cover, sort of like a pillowcase, to equal what you have on the back of your seat. So customers come to us with specifications and parts, CAD data, things like that. We design and build equipment like you see here, and we do it very quickly. 6 to 8 weeks, 10 weeks would be tops for any equipment. Again, we do parts of seats and interiors. You have headrests. We do closeout fixtures, and that's actually a seat back to close it down at the seam. We do turnkey lines, complete assembly lines also, and that's one that we do for the GMT 900 truck. It was in 7. GMT 900 is a full-size Chevy truck product line, which was huge, and it's in 7 plants in 3 different countries. We do a robot integration. We do it for guiding, pick and place. We do it for torque tool operations. We do it for applying sealants for glass install applications. We do it for adhesive applications. We do it to load and unload pallets. Here's a piece of equipment that we make, and it's actually, it's a video, so I'm going to turn it on. And as it's coming up, this is a muffler exhaust system that would be in your car. It has sound deadening. Texturized product in there that goes around the perforated tube, and to keep your muffler quiet as you drive. So that's a piece of equipment. Again, we make equipment like this in as little as 6 weeks, as many as 12 weeks. And as it goes through part of it, it's texturizing the product to make it look like cotton candy from a string, and then it applies it on the perforated tube. They seal it, and it becomes a muffler exhaust system. So we actually combine 2 operations there. That equipment, it runs in Indiana, and it's used for the Honda product line. So Automated Solutions mainly does custom equipment. People come to us with specific tasks. We provide solutions for their exact specifications. We create everything, and we're imaginative. That's a patented process. And it's about to be cut, and then it's going to come off. So that's one of the machines, and it's nice to see them running. WSP Technologies, we started in 2006. It's a standardized equipment company. What we do at Automated Solutions is we provide custom application solutions. And we wanted to, because no 2 are alike or no 4 are alike. If we get 4 or 5 of anything, that's a lot. Everything is a variety or a family of, but they all seem to be different. So what we did is we wanted to take what we've done and commonize it. And that's what we've done. We make controllers, and there's one there, sitting there, and that's a product that we make. And I'm going to go through what we do there. Again, we have a mission statement. It's a little bit shorter than the last one. We want to provide easy-to-use systems to 100% error-proof assembly line manufacturing operations. And what error-proofing means is to make sure that it's built right the first time. And it's not because of operator error. It's many things. It could be misaligned parts and things like that. The industry segments that we're in is not just automotive like we do with Automated Solutions. We're in automotive, we're in transport, we're at the tier suppliers, we're at machine builders, but we have aerospace also. We have power and energy, we have appliance, we have consumer electronics, and we have agriculture. Our business model is different. To get to our customers, we go through a series of integrators and distributors. So we have distributors that distribute our WSP product line in multiple states. So from our single location, we can provide equipment solutions to customers we could not reach before. Our equipment is special. We have patents on it, and what's specialized about it is not only its hardware, it's a software solution. We designed our own software, which we call the Station Master Platform. And the beauty of it is our Automated Solutions equipment, you need programmers to program the custom designed equipment to run for specific applications. What we do with WSP Technologies is we have out-of-the-box controllers. In as little as 15 minutes, you can have it set up to run exactly what you want. So So on here it says 30 minutes to deploy. Our graphical interface has multiple things to make it useful in a production environment. And you see on there we do many different things. We have pictures of what it does. That's a vision system, and I'll run it in simulation in a short time, and you'll actually see it running. We have we're the only ones that have what's called a local GPS system. Manufacturers want to know if fasteners were installed correctly. A lot of times fasteners are bolts, nuts and bolts used for metal fastening, and they would like to know, are they all tightened? There's multiple on any assembly. A car seat has over 14, 15 of them. What we do for the airlines has 300 or 400. So what we do is we take a sensor, we developed a satellite system that goes above it, and we can tell where that tool is in space. So it's sort of like the Wii game, but the Wii game cannot show you exactly where you are in space. It shows you where you've moved from where you are in the acceleration. We do a full line of manufacturing execution systems where we take our controllers, many different ones for many different disciplines, and we put them on an assembly line, and they all tie into what we call a manufacturing execution system. So here's the part. I've showed you what we've done, and now starting a business, you may want to know, hey, how do I go about starting a business? So we're back to the chalkboard. I try to break it down and make it simple by giving you a series of questions that you could ask yourself to come up with, first one, is there a need for the product or service that I want to market? You want to know that right away. If yes, who are your potential customers? How much will companies or people be willing to pay for the product or service? What is your business advantage over other companies? How much time do you have to run a small business? Would it be a hobby, or would it actually be a full venture? What will I name my business? Names are important. You want a name that's catchy, one that they remember, and one that they think that's been there for a long time. What equipment and supplies will I need? Where will I locate my business? And how will I reach potential customers? How will I attract employees? And how will I compensate myself and employees? Which brings us to operational questions. What legal structure can you use for the business? There's typically 3 types. C corporations for larger corporations. S corporation is small to medium-sized corporations, and there's tax advantages to that. And LLC is a limited liability corporation, which many people, in fact Chrysler was an LLC before the Fiat merger. What type of insurance will I need, and at what cost? Will I need to create a business plan to attract investors and to get loans? Will I need to consult with an attorney, accountant, or other experts to prepare a business plan? Business plans are important. You're going to get a chance to write down exactly what it is you want to, what you want to produce, and by going through the process, the answers that you answer and going through the process, I think you would know if there is a need for the product or service that you have. So I had creating a business plan, how to create a business plan, and I've also put together for you guys also another handout. I had a handout of the entrepreneurial spirit, which is neat reading, but I also starting a business, and it's a lot of what I put up there. It's repeated. A basic business plan should include an executive summary. Someone that's going to read your business plan is typically a busy person, and they want a 1 to 2 page summary. What is it you're going to do? Get your ideas down on paper. Then you want a company overview. It's more elaborate of the executive summary. Who are going to be your key personnel? If you say, hey, a couple engineers, we're going to get together and we're going to start a venture, then you want to list. You want to list that because it's an asset, obviously, to your venture. What's the history and current status of what you're doing? What would be your markets and products? I showed you with WSP Technologies what our markets and products are. You want to go ahead and list what would be your markets and products. Typically, you want to have as many products as reasonable, and if they're similar, that's even better. What are the near neighbor markets and products? That is, what could you roll this into next? What are the market comparisons? What's out there? How do you compare to that? Because if you're doing the same thing somebody else is doing, and you're not doing it for less, if there's no value to what you're doing, then it may be senseless. And what is the competition that's out there? Again, a business plan should include financial information. That's important. Anybody that looks at a business plan wants to know that, and you should be honest with yourself. It's 4-function math. There's no calculus involved. It's easy to do. The financial information should include financing, including details about loan applications. If you say, hey, I'm going to start a venture, and I have a little bit of money, but I'm going to go to the bank, and if the bank is going to start loaning money, I may have a loan application. You want to document that for someone reading your business plan, because chances are, as you attract customers and as you attract suppliers, they want to see what is your plan. You want to list what is your capital equipment and your list of supplies. What do you need to start? Can you start 2 engineers with 2 computers and 1 printer with 2 mobile phones? You may be able to do that. You may be able to start inexpensively and be up and running. You want to have a balance sheet. You want to know what your break-even analysis is. And again, these are important things. You want to know before you get into it, because everybody's idea, everyone's passionate about their idea. We all think we have great ideas, but sometimes they just don't work out. And if you go into it honestly to say, hey, I think there's room, I can make a profit here, I can pay the employees, I do know about insurances that I need to have, and I have money for that, then maybe you're moving in the right direction. You want to do income projections for at least 3 years. So you want to say, hey, I'm going to start today. I think I can move 10 of these units next year. I'd be happy if I could move 20, and so on. So those are your projections, your best guess at the time. Additional business plan documentation is copy of any proposed lease or purchase agreements for building space. As you put this together, you may say you may want to open a daycare. You may look at what type of space is out there, how much does it actually cost, and get purchase agreements, written down so you can put in your business plan. Copy of resumes of all the principal people involved in the business. People that read business plans want to know who's involved, and they want to know what their background is. Copies of letters of intent from suppliers and companies that you will be serving. That's an important one. If anyone has recently watched the show Shark Tank, they always ask that. What commitments do you have? You must have, if you have a purchase order or signed letter of intent from a customer, they're ready to move. If you have a great idea, you may have a lot of product, but customers aren't interested in what you have to offer, then they seem to shy away. So next time you watch the show, look for that. 3 years worth of tax returns for key people. That would be the last thing, and I put it last because people may or may not do that. So that's what I have, and that's what I presented. And if you have any questions and answers, now's the time. I can answer them if you have questions. Yes?
What separates your company from a larger corporation like Johnson Controls or Allen Bradley?
Well, Johnson Controls is one of our customers, and we would never compete with a company like Johnson Controls or Lear. The 2 of them are our competitors. We supply equipment to them that they can use in their manufacturing facilities. So they contract companies like Automated Solutions and WSP Technologies to provide equipment that they can use in their manufacturing operations. So there's no competition. Allen Bradley, they make a lot of electrical hardware. We talked about PLCs and programming, so you must have some electrical background. That is hardware that we actually put in our machines. And if Johnson Controls or Lear Corporation came to us and said, hey, we want our machine to run with Allen Bradley products because it's specified, that's what we're going to use.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay.
I have a couple of comments I wanted to make on what you said. I think the company differentiates itself because of the intellectual property that it owns. The intellectual property is very, very key to the strategy that the company has developed. Maybe for a moment you could talk a little bit about the journey that you've taken, the investment that you've made in some of the intellectual property that is really unique to you. And watching your presentation, I was really kind of in awe of the kind of intellectual property you've developed and the approaches you've taken, as well as how diverse your market, your segments are in terms of where you are in the space that you're in. Keeping in mind, these are tough economic times. Many of these companies are challenged now, so could you comment on your IP?
Sure, absolutely. Whenever you create something, whether it's the machine you saw running above, you may say, hey, this is novel or unique. Because it was unique, we took two operations and we merged them into one, which made it unique. So you want to say, after you do it, once somebody sees what's out there, it's easy for them to come in and copy it. Once they see once they see that it can be done. So what we like to do is to file for a provisionary patent. So we bring in a patent attorney to look at, is there anything unique with this piece of equipment that we could capitalize on, because we invented it, merged the two operations together of two separate machines we were selling, combined it into one. There's significant savings. There's manpower savings. Before it took 2 or 3 operators. Now we can do it with one operator, and the operator actually runs multiple machines. So we want to make sure that in the future we're not competing against other competitors that we have, and we have competitors, other tooling places and equipment suppliers that would gladly come in, see what you've done, and provide a solution that's similar.
So the idea of inventing something, you were solving a problem that somebody had.
That's right. What we do is tooling and equipment. As you saw the machine that ran first on the screen, it's an automated piece of equipment. That's what we enjoy doing. As an engineer, when I went to school, I have a heavy electrical background. I was a controls engineer, which is electrical controls. It's what we like to do. Mechanical engineers love the type of equipment, and if I were to go back to the first piece of equipment that was running, that's actually a pretty novel piece of equipment for such a small size. This is a different piece of equipment. You may have missed it if you if you didn't look up when you first came in. This piece of equipment, again, we use Allen Bradley components. You see the touchscreen that's on. There's an Allen Bradley underneath the machine, and the machine's only the size of, it's only 6 feet by 4 feet. We have a lot of electrical controls. We have servo motors. We have many actuators to create all the movements that you see. We kick out a part, and this is a piston banding. This would go in a shocker strut in vehicles. It's high volume. This one actually does the large GM truck. And we wrap a plastic band around the outside, so the part looks like a hockey puck, and the part we wrap around is actually flat, and you'll see it get loaded in there. So we had a customer that came to us and said, "Hey, we have 7 machines because of various different sizes of pistons. 7 machines with 7 different operators. How can we eliminate manpower and increase the price, or cut down the number of machines and increase the price of our machine just slightly?" So what we do here is, you'll see the tooling is actually not attached to the machine, which is a pretty novel idea. We have it floating, so you can change it out pretty quick. So you could go to different sizes of pistons, easy. The machine runs itself, and it can run for hours without an operator. So what they have is 2 to 4 machines and in a climate-controlled room with one operator that loads parts and unloads parts, and they're not tasked or tacked very much. So they cut down from several operations with several people to one operation with multiple parts running with only one operator. So, yes.
What was your initial product that you, or idea that you wanted to start doing for the initial product?
Well, I worked for Lear Corporation, and Lear Corporation at that time it was called Lear Seating Corporation, and they did automotive interiors and seats. So that's kind of the tooling. I had done tooling before. I worked for a company called Lamb Technicom and Wisney Pico, and they built very large football-sized machines. And I kind of like the small machines, and you saw some of those. They're easy, you get on them, you get off them. They're very quick, where the large pieces of equipment would take months to over a year to commission. So I like the quick turnaround, the easy opportunities to provide solutions, multiple solutions at a given time. So that's how we started, was manufacturing the single station pieces of equipment.
There's got to be some more questions. You're engineers. You got to be looking at this thing and say, "Wow, how did they solve that problem?" All of you are working on senior projects, and there's got to be a lot going through your mind. I think there's a lot here that's got to have stimulated you in some way. So at least try to come up with a couple more questions that you might be able to think about if you're working on your senior projects. Are you solving a problem with your senior project? Is that what you're doing? Are you designing something? What are you doing? What kinds of projects are you working on? What do you think? There's got to be, how many teams do we have here? How many groups do we have represented here? Three different teams? What are you working on? What are the projects you're working on?
Formula SAE.
Pardon me? Formula SAE? Okay. So you're in the formula team, so you're actually working on the vehicle? What are you doing in the vehicle? What particular area are you focusing on?
I'm designing the chassis.
Okay.
Suspension.
Suspension? Powertrain? Okay. So here you are. Do you remember SAE when you were here? Do you remember the kinds of activities?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So you know what they're working on, the kinds of projects. Are you running into any problems or any challenges? I mean, in any projects you're working on. What do you find the most challenging, the most difficult?
Financing.
Financing the project. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So in a sense, it's entrepreneurial where you actually have to raise the capital to launch the product. So you've got to package it, and you've got to sell it, and you've got to find somebody who is interested in backing your project. And that's not, you just talk about that. I mean, that's putting together a presentation or a plan that you have to put together in order to do it. I do that all the time in my consulting practice. We've done that. And in this climate, it is not an easy journey, but you're going to find somebody that has a hot button that may have an interest in financing the project. Anything technical that you're running into that maybe you wanted to comment on? I know you're looking at each other, pulling your hands up. You're not that far along. I know the term is just starting.
We're just now getting into.
And what are you working on?
Well, we're doing the air design team. So.
Air design. Okay, so you're going to be flying around a little bit. Huh?
Yeah.
So you're working with Dr. Gerhardt, or okay, fine. So this is why don't you explain the project for Ray, what they're doing? This is an interesting project. I don't know if they did that, but why don't you explain the project that you're working on?
Well, our main goal is to lift as much payload as possible, given certain constraints given to us by SAE. I think the constraints are length plus width plus height of our aircraft have to equal 200 inches. So we're looking to lift as much weight as possible, somewhere probably around 25-30 pounds, in a model aircraft.
Wow. And how are you going to accomplish that?
Well, that's a good question.
Not quite sure.
Well, one of the most important parts is trying to find lift in places where you don't normally have lift. One of our ideas is a lifting body type fuselage where the whole plane is shaped like a wing. So that would give us, every inch of space on our wing will provide some lift, and should anyway.
Well, that's a great idea. I'm sure that's the direction they go.
Potentially.
Just out of curiosity, Ray came here, made this presentation, coming back to the university. I hope all of you had a positive learning experience as a result of this. If I was asking you, if you were to pick up one thing you got from what you heard today, what did you learn? What kind of sets you a little bit that maybe you're thinking now, maybe you hadn't thought about before? The entrepreneurial mindset here at Lawrence Tech, everyone's not going to be an entrepreneur. We're not here to have everyone go into business. It's not realistic. We try to link theory and practice as much as I can. However, we are building the entrepreneurial mindset. When you work for a large organization or you go into business for yourself, thinking like an entrepreneur is very, very important. It adds value to all that you do. Would you concur to that?
I would agree.
Yeah. So basically that's what I'm saying. So comments, did you want to, if I was to ask you, what did you learn from this? Hopefully you learned something. What did you learn?
You can go ahead and say it. I make great PowerPoint presentations, don't I?
That's great.
Yeah.
How about the backgrounds?
What'd you pick up?
I like how you turn a small idea into something big. Just from working every day to take what he's learned at work and flip it and turn it to something that he can do on his own
Okay.
and send it in his own direction.
All right.
Yeah, that's kind of neat because when I started, the word entrepreneur, although it's a French noun, as we all now know, it was sort of a bad word because the 90s were great times. We had 37 consecutive quarters of economic growth. We all want to go back to the 90s. Things were thriving. America was great. And if you left an organization that was as stable as the one I had left, everyone wondered, what's wrong with you? Now they have entrepreneur programs, which they didn't hear. When I was finishing my degree and I told them that I started my own business, they thought, what is wrong with you? And that was the mindset.
Anyone else want to comment on what you learned? Thank you for that feedback.
I have a question. How does the tool center itself in this operation, that floating tool, how does it center itself when it lifts up and goes back down?
It's actually a fork, and it's machined. On one end is like the bottom of a bowl, and the fork actually is the opposite of that. So it's always, as you see, it rocks just a little bit,
Okay.
but it stops within the 2 or 3 seconds until it's set back down.
Okay. Any other feedback? Yes, in the back.
So do you do research of different facilities and their assembly lines and stuff like that, and then approach them on different methods and things you can provide for them to improve their system?
We try to think outside the box like that sometimes. When we first, when I first started with Lear Corporation, they were building a modular build, which meant that they brought parts to an employee and he put together the entire piece, just like they do with furniture making. Lear Corporation actually was revolutionary, and they said, hey, we're going to go to a linear build so we can manage our people and push our products so that we don't have seat backs coming off at different times and seat cushions at different times and rear seats or third row seats. So we kind of follow along. They typically lead the way. They do the studies, either through universities like Florence Tech, or they do it internally with their industrial engineers, but we kind of grasp the direction they would like to go and try to expand on it, but in no way do we create the path they use for manufacturing operations.
Right.
This is what we use for industry-sponsored projects. We have 3 of them. If, for instance, Ray's company had a project they wanted us to work on, we would work on that project. And this is how our students will learn. This is how we link theory and practice. We also have an entrepreneurial internship program in which we, through the Kern Family Foundation, will pay 50% of the compensation, your compensation, for 90 to 120 days. The purpose of that is to get as close to an entrepreneur as you can, to get into the mindset. So those programs are available to you. You may not be aware of them, but you are now, at least you should be. Ray is part of an organization called the Legends of Lawrence Tech, and these are the entrepreneurial alumni. We have 614 Lawrence Tech alumni that own their own businesses around the United States, 300 of which are in Michigan. Ray is one. I want to take this opportunity to thank Ray very, very much and to present to him a certificate of appreciation for being here and for participating in this lecture series.
Well,
thank you very much.
Well, thank you.
It's great having you.